Brian Steele just put OTF Jam's recorded words from 2023 against what Jam told the jury. And according to live courtroom reporting, Jam admitted the two statements were contrary. During his testimony, Jam described an alleged studio conversation involving money for Quando Rondo or Lil Tim. But during cross-examination, Durk's attorney played part of a recorded interview Jam gave the FBI and LAPD back in 2023. In that recording, Jam reportedly said Lil Durk never told him he was putting money on Quando or Tim. Steele asked Jam whether that statement was contrary to what he had now told the jury. Jam reportedly answered yes. Jam said there was more to it than that, and Steele responded, "There's always more to it than that with you." That exchange does not prove Jam's entire testimony is false. The studio conversation and the words captured in the recording may not have involved exactly the same question or context, but Steele has now given the jury a specific difference between Jam's recorded words in 2023 and the testimony he is giving today. And that could become a serious credibility problem for one of the government's most important witnesses, especially because earlier courtroom reporting says Jam participated in approximately 30 interviews, but only 3 of those interviews were recorded. That means the jury does not have a recording of every conversation Jam had with investigators. And now that one of the few recordings has been played, Durk's defense is using Jam's own words to challenge the story he is telling in court. This was the second day of Kacey Hester's testimony in Lil Durk's federal trial. And once Brian Steele began cross-examination, the tone reportedly changed immediately. Steele challenged the idea that Jam was simply manipulated into something beyond his control. He questioned Jam about his violent history, his admitted role as a shooter, and his reported status inside the Black Disciples. When Steele asked whether Jam was a dangerous person, Jam reportedly said, "Some people might describe him that way." Steele then asked whether Jam was dangerous at that exact moment. Jam answered, "Nah, I'm chillin'." The response may have sounded casual, but Steele's point was serious. The defense wants this jury to see Jam as an experienced participant who made his own decisions, not somebody Lil Durk could simply force into committing violence. Steele also pressed Jam about his son. Jam had told prosecutors that the Los Angeles trip happened shortly after he completed approximately 12 years in prison, when he finally had an opportunity to be a free father. According to courtroom reporting, Steele reminded Jam that he could have been with his son, but instead traveled across the country and admitted pointing a gun at people he did not know. Then Steele went directly at Jam's motive for cooperating. Jam reportedly said he was not banking on Durk receiving a life sentence. Steele asked whether Jam wanted to go home. Jam answered that he wanted a number, apparently referring to a definite sentence. That answer matters because Jam has pleaded guilty and is cooperating with the government while waiting to learn what punishment he will receive. Even without a guaranteed sentence, the defense can argue that Jam has an obvious reason to give prosecutors testimony that helps their case. Prosecutors can respond that having a motive does not automatically make his testimony false, especially if independent evidence supports what he says. And that is where Jam's description of the shooting and its aftermath becomes important. Jam said, "A white Infiniti and a rented white BMW followed Quando Rondo's black Escalade through Los Angeles." He described the vehicles moving from a downtown hotel to a dispensary, a Beverly Hills clothing store, and finally the gas station beside the Beverly Center. Jam repeatedly admitted that he did not know Los Angeles well. At one point he said he did not even know what the Beverly Center was until his attorney told him. According to Jam, the alleged plan kept changing. He said the group considered going inside the clothing store to target Quando, but worried that the automatic door could lock and trap them inside. Jam claimed the situation felt unorganized and that he contacted DeAndre Wilson to try to get it called off because Durk might listen to Wilson. But Jam remained with the group. At the gas station, Jam said David Lindsay jumped out of the stolen Infiniti and began shooting sooner and from farther away than Jam expected. Jam admitted that he and others then opened fire at the black Escalade. When prosecutors asked whether they were concerned about shooting near gas pumps and possibly causing an explosion, Jam said they were not thinking about that. Afterward, Jam said the group abandoned the Infiniti, switched vehicles, stopped at an In-N-Out, and returned to San Diego before flying back toward Chicago. But the most important part of Jam's account may be what he claims happened on the phone after the shooting. Jam testified that DeAndre Wilson was speaking with Lil Durk, whom Jam called Blood. According to Jam, Wilson was asking the group who fired, what happened, and where everybody was located while relaying information back and forth. Jam claimed he personally heard Durk's voice during that call. That is Jam's testimony, not an established finding. The jury will have to decide whether phone records, messages, or other evidence corroborate what he says he heard. Jam also told the jury that he was angry after the shooting. He called the operation sloppy and said Xavier Lil Robinson was innocent. Jam said this was not his personal conflict and accused Durk of being selfish for allegedly involving him so soon after he came home from prison. But that explanation creates another defense question. If Jam believed the alleged plan was wrong, unorganized, and unrelated to him, why did he remain with the group and admit to firing a weapon? Then there is the money. And the testimony here is more complicated than some social media posts make it sound. Jam testified that he was not personally offered money before the shooting, and he described an alleged studio conversation in Georgia where somebody mentioned $500,000 or possibly $1 million in connection with targeting Quando Rondo. Jam said Durk was in the room and responded with a word to the effect of whatever. That is not the same as Durk personally promising Jam $500,000 or $1 million. Jam also described money discussions after the shooting and testified that he later received $10,000 connected to federal Freestyle. Jam said he had never made a song or appeared on an album before that opportunity. Prosecutors appeared to suggest the music placement and payment were a reward connected to what happened in Los Angeles. The defense can argue that payment connected to a music appearance is not automatically proof that Durk paid Jam to participate in a murder-for-hire plot. That leaves the jury with two separate questions. What was Jam actually told before the shooting? And what, if anything, was the $10,000 payment really for? Jam then explained how he became a government cooperator. In 2023, he was arrested in a separate gun matter while still under supervision from his earlier case. While in custody, Jam passed a handwritten note to authorities. According to courtroom reporting, the note said, in substance, that he knew about murders, did not want to speak on camera, and knew a lot. Jam said Lil Pab's killing had been weighing on him, and that he saw an opportunity to tell investigators what he knew. Prosecutors can present that as a guilty conscience. Durk's defense can argue that Jam only came forward after getting locked up again and needing a way to reduce his own punishment. And before the lunch break, prosecutors asked Jam how he felt about Durk now. Jam gave one of the most personal answers of the trial. He said this might be difficult to believe because of what he was doing, but he still had love for Durk because Durk had been there for him. Jam said he knew Durk probably hated him, but according to Jam, while the love remained, the respect was gone. That statement captures the reversal at the center of this entire story. Jam says Durk supported him through more than a decade in prison and helped him after he came home. Now Jam is sitting across from Durk in federal court and giving testimony that could strengthen a case carrying the possibility of life in prison. The government can argue that Jam has admitted his own crimes and provided details matching surveillance, vehicles, travel records, phone evidence, and messages collected independently. The defense can argue that Jam is an admitted killer facing serious punishment, hoping cooperation helps him, and now giving testimony that does not perfectly match one of his few recorded interviews. That is the real fight after Jam's second day on the stand. His testimony sounds damaging, but can prosecutors prove its most important parts without asking the jury to rely on Jam alone? Lil Durk has pleaded not guilty and remains presumed innocent. Jam's testimony is evidence, but it is not a verdict. And after Brian Steele played that 2023 recording, the biggest question is no longer simply what OTF Jam says happened. It is which version of OTF Jam the jury is going to believe.